Hello, world. Welcome to the Fahnz's office. Today, I am here with a man who became the first fighter to come under sponsorship with the Fahnz here, and that makes him the first member of the Familia. He is an AMI fighter who is about to make his pro debut, and he wants to do it against a super fighter by the name of Ryan the Showstopper Moore. He fights out of Champion Gym in Grand Prairie, Alberta, and he is known to the world as McLovin. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Isaiah Metituk.
What's up, Fahnz? Thanks for having me and giving me a platform to set the record straight on a few things.
Hey, you bet, Isaiah, and thank you for agreeing to do this interview with the Fahnz's office. As people may or may not know, old Fahnzy here went and made McLovin an offer he couldn't refuse. And as it stands now, Isaiah Metituk is no longer teaming up with the superfan, and he's come on over to the Fahnz's Familia. Isaiah, I am very honored to have you as the first fighter to officially sign with the Fahnz. This is a big statement being made here with stealing you out from under that super slow poke, the super fans team, and doing so right as you're about to make your pro debut. But as the fans out there in the world already know, you were ready to make your pro debut last year, but the stars didn't line up for you, and you had something like 5 fights or so fall apart on you, and like 2 or 3 fight events that your pro debut was going to be on, and they were postponed or canceled. Would you like to speak on how that has left you feeling in regards to how hungry you are now finally to get your chance to make that pro debut?
Absolutely, but first things first, since based on his last video, I'm guessing he's a big fan of it, I'm going to pack a little lip dinner. So Ryan Moore, I know you're a big fan of it. This one's for you, buddy. But to answer your question, I mean, obviously having one fight, especially your pro debut, you know, having that fall through once is super frustrating and super disappointing, yet alone 5 times, right? I mean, it was getting ridiculous, and it was definitely depressing. I won't sugarcoat it at all. It sucked, but you know, looking back on it now that things are starting to get going again, and we're getting closer to the date. In the long term, it's really going to benefit me because I had some time to kind of step back and reassess my game and, you know, look at what I was doing wrong and what I was doing right, and you know, fix a lot of holes, not only, you know, physically with my technique and everything on that aspect, but also and even probably even more so mentally as well. I fixed a lot of things upstairs, and I really think that even though short term it definitely sucked, I think long term it's going to pay off tenfold.
Awesome, my man. And now what about this Ryan Moore guy anyways? He was one of the fights that fell through on you last year, but am I correct in that you would still like to make your pro debut versus this guy? And if so, please tell me and the world out there watching you how you see this fight playing out once it is officially signed.
So, a little bit of a spoiler alert. I can't officially announce it just because everything's not set in stone quite yet, but we are in talks for Ryan Moore to be my pro debut. We're just waiting for a date to be nailed down and a contract to be sent, but I was scheduled to make my pro debut against Ryan Moore once last December. That was the first of the 5 fights got canceled because he got injured. I'm using that term real loosely. I see myself finishing him in the first round. I see it being bloody. I see it being violent. I see myself going out there and showing my full skill set and my full toolbox. And I see him retiring at the end of the fight, man. After the beatdown I put on this guy, like, he better be prepared to meet the woo. Because after the beatdown I put on him and I leave him lying in a pool of his own blood, realizing what a mistake he made underestimating me, he's never even going to watch fighting again. Like, this is it. You're done. Goodbye.
Wow, McLovin, man. That is quite the statement to make. Not only do you want to make your pro debut against this guy, but you also want to make it his retirement match. And not only that, you want to do it quickly to him. That is massively impressive, my man, and exactly one of the reasons why I wanted you to be on my team. Now, I know that a vast majority of your AMI career was fighting for Darren Cliff over there at Excessive Force Fighting Championship, right there in your own hometown of Grand Prairie, Alberta. And the first time this matchup between you and Ryan was made, it was going to be under that same banner. Now that C19 has turned the world on its side, and I know that you said you're in talks, is XFFC possibly a company that you will see your pro debut under? Or is it possible that you would be open to fighting for a different organization if XFFC is unable to get that fight put on rather soon?
So, like I said previously, I can't say which motion it's for, unfortunately, but I can say that it isn't for Excessive. You know, as much as I love Excessive, they've always treated me well. I mean, I get to be in my hometown, sleep in my own bed, be with my own team. You know, all my McLovin Mafia is here. Really, I have no complaints about them at all. I absolutely will be back. My next fight, I go out there, I fight, I win, and I finish the guy. I'll move into first place all time for fights, finishes, and wins. And that's definitely something I want to cross off the list at this point. But as of right now, it's whatever show pops up first. I mean, you know, barring a few breaks, I've been in camp for this pro debut since October. So, you know, I'm sure any promoter would understand the first available show that books this, I'm going to get on. And hopefully I should be able to announce it in the next week or two here.
Man, that would be awesome. And yeah, no, if it's my understanding that you've agreed to fight the showstopper at 145 pounds. But once that fight is over and done with, your plan is to make 135 pounds your home. Is there anything you'd like to say to the 135 pounders out there in Canada and beyond? And is there anyone in particular you're thinking of calling out once you stop Ryan's show?
So, yeah, you're correct in a few aspects there. I am dropping to 135 pounds after this fight. Also, the fight against Ryan Moore is scheduled to take place at 145 pounds. Whether he can actually make that weight or not remains to be seen. You know, as far as calling people out or, you know, who's next, 0-6, 6-0, whatever his record is, man, whatever my opinion of him is, I'm training like this guy's Max Holloway. You know, I'm not going to look through him. I'm not looking past him. I'm not making the same mistakes he's making, right? I'm a professional. I go in there to handle my business, and, you know, you can't take your job lightly. But I will say this, after I go in there and I finish him in the first round and I beat him so bad he retires, all these bantamweights are going to know that none of them are safe and that there's a new dog in the yard, and I'm coming for that top spot.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. And all you 135-pounders out there, you better take McLovin serious, because once he steps on that combat surface, he's got in there and he's coming after you, and he wants to finish you before that final bell. Well, Isaiah, that has been my favorite interview that I have conducted by far. And I'd like to thank you once again for doing this interview with me. And I am extremely grateful and honored to have you in the familia. Is there anyone out there you would like to give one final shout out to?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, thank you for having me, for signing me. I think it's going to be a great relationship between the familia and the McLovin Mafia, and I look forward to seeing where that goes. First off, I got to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Being brutally honest, these last few months have sucked, you know, from going of the high of being on the eve of your pro debut to 4 days later, the whole world shut down. It definitely hit me harder than most. I will not lie about that. And without the man upstairs, I wouldn't be able to make it through all this. So always got to give him props. Secondly, I got to thank my team down at Champion Gym, all my teammates, all my coaches, Bill Mahood, Randy Mahan, Luis Martinez, Adam Link. You know, they pushed me to limits I didn't even know I had. And I can't wait to show their handiwork and all the time and effort that they put into me come fight night. And also on that same note, I'd like to thank Sean Carroll and Jet Grand down in Red Deer for opening their places up to me for a week and getting in a lot of solid work. And also Shane Campbell down at Edmonton for opening up his gym and, you know, giving me some private seminars. And I really gained a lot of knowledge from him as well. So big thank you to those guys for for opening up and letting me in for, a couple weeks. And lastly, I got to thank the McLovin Mafia, man. None of this is possible without you guys coming out to support, following me on social media, buying the merchandise. And I love and appreciate each and every one of you, man. Without you guys, the stream isn't possible. So big props.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm telling you, man, the McLovin Mafia and teaming up with the Familia, it's just a natural match made in heaven, my man. Now, how can your fans out there follow you and support you on social media?
Yeah, so I have a few different ways to reach me. Obviously I'm on Facebook, Isaiah Metituk. I add everybody. I try to talk to everybody. Like I said previously, I really do appreciate all my fans and all the people who know who I am, so I make sure to never ignore them. I'm also on Instagram as Metituk MMA. That's where you see most of my training pictures and my training videos and that sort of thing. And also, if you want to see a bit more of the day-to-day life of McLovin, add me on Snapchat, man. IVEDARD, Ivedard. That's kind of a bit more look into my day-to-day life and things that are happening outside of training as well. So there's a few different ways to reach me.
Awesome, my man. Yeah, you definitely are one of those fighters who's out there on social media, accepting the fans in, whether they like you or hate you. And that's something that I really respect for you, my man. And you know what? I'm looking so forward to the rest of 2020 and to being in your corner for your pro career, my man. My props to you, Isaiah Metituk.
Thank you, brother.
All right, everybody. On behalf of McLovin there, I am the Fahnz. He is McLovin. And we are signing out from the Fahnz's office.